and so I'm doing that right now to make sure we are, in fact, live.
So what's Dean wearing?
You can
Lion. He's so excited they won one game that he's putting on his hat.
We didn't win this last week.
Understand.
So
it's actually a really there's a stark difference here. We will talk about board games and PAX U in a second, y'all. But we have the Braves hat for anyone who watches baseball at all in America. They are the world champions.
That's right.
We also have Dean wearing the Lions, the champions of the worst football team in America.
Hey, Dean, we're both champions in something.
Stark contrast.
champions at winning the draft battle here. Well, having the first draft pick. Hey, we're good to go. Yeah, we are on YouTube.
All right,
so
just wanted to make sure we're all good to go. Hey,
yep.
So Dean, tell Meepletown, tell the folks watching what we're doing tonight.
So here's what we're doing, everyone. We are going to be talking about PAX Unplugged 2021. All four of us went together. We'll introduce everyone in just a minute, but we wanted to give everyone a little bit of time to get on here. I guess we can go ahead and get started anyway. By the time we get done talking, people will be here.
Well, I got an idea. I'm going to go ahead and start showing some pictures. I'm going to hide Deron and Jonathan for a second so they can see the pictures better, and then we'll pop them right back on. Is that cool?
You don't want people to know who they are? All right.
Well, we can't show all of that. We just can't. So
we're showing them right now.
I see how it is.
Yeah, I know. So yeah, you won't be able to defend yourselves on the pictures that I'm about to show. That's the reality. All right, let me hide that real quick. Okay.
Hey, Big Dean on the screen right now.
Dean on the screen. Here we go. So what are we doing here, Dean?
So here we are playing some games, as you can quite imagine.
You don't know which one that is. Come on. Cotton Club.
Sorry, I can't see. My old eyes.
Wow.
Aren't showing it on there. So okay. Yep, Cotton Club. 1923 Cotton Club.
Club there. What is that one?
This one is that Brian Boku 2. Brian
Boru.
Bocro 2.
No, Boru.
That's
Peru.
Nailed it.
There's me
and
Here
we got Wonderful Kingdom.
Yeah, it's a Wonderful Kingdom. We're just showing a few of these pictures. Hey, this is a fun moment.
Jay Bell and Steve O'Rourke. I might actually mention them a little bit. For sure, we'll talk about them on the podcast.
Yeah, that sounds good. And my favorite picture of the whole time.
Rocky. I was a little nervous it was going to be just me and Rocky hanging out, but John got up early in the morning on the last day to go see Rocky with me. I was very pumped.
Only got up, but I turned Eye of the Tiger on my phone and listened to it. And I think Dean was like, why are you doing this? Why we ran up the stairs. It was one of the greatest moments in my life.
It's pretty exciting. Hey, John, I'm sharing a picture here, and I'd like you to throw this up there too. Can you see that one?
Okay, let me hide that. Show what this. Wait, I don't even see where your screen is now.
Is it not sharing on there now?
No, I just have got too many things. Here it is.
There we go. Oh, it's about to go up there. Look at that.
Oh, that's so cute.
Isn't that cute? Hanging out in the Everdell tree.
Is that what? I didn't even realize that's what that was.
What?
Really? I didn't. We were just walking, and someone's like, "You want to take a picture in a tree?" And I'm like, "That sounds fun."
I think she said the Everdell tree. I could be wrong about that.
It was a real treat.
Okay, so here's what's going to happen tonight.
Are you kind of like, leave me alone, or are these jokes barking up the wrong tree? I'm going out on a limb here, bro.
All right, let's leave that joke alone. And let's tell people what we're doing. So,
all right, I'm going to bring everyone back into the stream.
And then we'll introduce them in a second. But so John and I are going to be doing the podcast next week, and we're going to be doing our overview of all things PAX. Okay. Like we're going to be talking about everything, all of our experiences, people we met, all that good stuff. But tonight we're just going to be focusing on a couple of the games that we played and talking about some of our highlights with Deron and Jonathan, who came with us. Ready? Yep. You are locked up. I don't know if that's...
I'm locked up?
Yeah.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me now? Oh.
Unfortunately.
Okay. That's wild.
I'm not sure what's going on. Maybe it might just be my computer. I'm not sure.
So if you are listening live or watching live, which maybe there's not a ton of you, I don't know. We kind of did this last minute. We'd like for you to chat it up and tell us what you think about any of these games, ask any questions or whatever. But as Dean said, these are going to be our 8 gaming moments. So we played a lot of games. Jonathan, people know who you are. Tell them how many games you played this weekend.
If you include the plane rides, 26.
26 games.
Yeah.
What a shame. Darren, you have any idea how many you played?
A handful.
Yeah.
I definitely think I took home the most games trophy.
Yeah, for sure.
I would say that's right. I wasn't even half of that, I don't think.
I would say 10 to 15 maybe. Because, I mean, that one night we played 4 games or something like that, and then we played some other ones. So,
yeah.
So, for those who are unfamiliar with PAX, let me share my favorite part of PAX, besides getting to meet people and hang out with people and all this stuff, is there's a section, a giant section called First Look. And this is pretty much, besides going to the exhibit hall and hanging out with other people, where all of us were parked most of the time, wouldn't you say?
Mm-hmm.
And this section is sweet because basically they're letting you play all these games that haven't come out yet. Yeah. So we're going to be able to talk about a lot of games that haven't, or that are, most of them are really close to being able to come out. Right, Dean?
Yeah. Yeah. For sure. There's a couple of, several in there that I'd never heard of before at all. So I'm assuming that they're probably getting close to release.
Yeah. I don't know. Who knows? All right. So who's going to go first?
So that would be me. That way I can control. I'm going to be showing some screenshots in the background here, and I'm going to talk about. Sorry, this isn't working for me.
That's fine.
Things aren't showing up on here, but I think I'll be good.
It told me that you're ready to share your screen. So I'm going to close out of some of us, and I'm going to let Dean talk for a minute, and then we'll all pop back on. That way you can actually see his screen, because he's going to show it to everyone on BGG, so it's a little bit more exciting, so you can kind of see what he's talking about. We're doing our 8 top moments, meaning 2 top moments apiece. And we tried to make them different. So, like, there's some that I liked a lot, but maybe someone else picked it. And so we're just trying to do some different ones.
All right. Let me know when you got it up there, because I can't see what's going on YouTube. You got it up there?
Right. You are going, baby.
All right. So the first game I'm going to talk about was actually not a new release to this con, but I'd never heard of it before. This one came out in 2020. It's called Faza. And this is a cooperative game it was self-published by Benjamin Faramond, and he and his brother were there showing this off, and I was drawn to the artwork on this. I thought, man, this display looks really cool. It's got this really cool comic book style art going on here. This is a cooperative game where you are trying to destroy the 3 motherships that are on the board, and you are going to be moving around the board, and you're working with each other. You have these different rebels that are going along with you, and you're trying to destroy those little robot things, those alien things there, and get to the mothership so you can destroy all of those. And if you do, you win the game. Now, here's the thing. I didn't play a full game of this. Technically, we did, but he set it up on hard so that we would purposefully lose. But I really enjoyed my experience with this one. I thought it was so unique, and the cooperative element was very strong. Like, you really have to work together with other people. But when I watched some reviews on this afterwards, they weren't necessarily positive, but I think a lot of it had to do with people not liking the different cards that you have to draw whenever you're like these event cards that come out that can be kind of swingy, I guess. But there's been some changes that have been made to the original version, the best that I can tell, to kind of change some of that swinginess. But my experience with this was a lot of fun. Darren played this one with me, and I think he enjoyed this one as well. So that was Faza.
Yeah, I'm going to pop Darren in here, and Jonathan is talking. Darren, what do you think about this? I when we were walking through the hall, did I show you this one, Dean? Was that me and Darren walking, and we were both like, what is that? And I was like, Dean, you got to come over here. I was drawn by the artwork. Like, what is this? This is interesting. So what do you think about it, Darren?
Yeah, I remember when this was on Kickstarter back in 2019, and the same thing, John, it was the art that grabbed me, and started looking at it. And when we sat down and played it, it was a lot of fun. It was surprisingly fun. I didn't know what to expect, but no, we had a blast.
That's awesome.
I like the attacking the motherships and having the change the pips on the die, and it really forces you to work together and figuring out how you're going to move your people around.
That's cool.
Good times.
Yeah, I wanted to play that one, but I think I was playing something with Jonathan, so we had a good time.
Darren, you picked up a copy of this one, right?
I did. I liked it enough to pick up a copy.
Oh, you bought it? That's right.
Yep. I haven't broken it out yet, but I plan to next week.
Dean is proving right now that he doesn't care that much about it because he didn't buy it.
I had not a lot of luggage space.
Yeah, I was going to say Dean didn't have a lot of that. You probably will pick this one up, won't you?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so.
Hey, Steve. What's going on, brother? Long time no see.
Steve O'Rourke, who told us that he was not going to make it. He told me he was. Oh, here's the thing. So we are in competition with Maple Syrup tonight, who has the one and only Jay Bell on their show tonight at the exact same time as us. So maybe Steve's watching both at the same time, potentially.
That's a great name, Maple Syrup. I was going to say.
Yeah. If you're Canadian.
Should we call ourselves that and just try to overthrow them?
I don't think that's how that works.
All right, who's next, Dean?
We got Jonathan up.
So that was Raza. No, wait. What was it? What was the name of that game?
Faza.
Faza.
Like
Faza.
Faza Bear.
Faza or Faza. All right, Jonathan's next. All right, Jonathan, I'm going to put Dean's screen up.
I think we got Cora up here, Jonathan.
Okay, I was going to say, which one am I talking about first?
Yeah.
All right, so this one is Cora: Rise of the Empire, Rise of an Empire. This was sort of in the first look section. He kind of talked about how these were newer games, but they also had the second look section, which was directly adjacent to it, where they didn't have teachers. Did you mention the teachers in the first look section? I don't know if I remember you mentioning that or not, but
I didn't mention. No, I didn't mention it, but yeah. So there, one of the really cool parts was not only were there the games, there were teachers that were walking around and stuff like that. That you've thought about going to PAX U. That was super helpful. Like, how many times, Jonathan, did you say, "Oh, I'm so thankful I have to read rule books"?
Yeah. So normally in our game group, I teach a ton of the games that we end up playing, and then mostly just from having read the rule books. So having other teachers there really took a load off my shoulders. I didn't actually prep at all for this con. Usually when I'm going into a convention, I've learned 10 or 15 games to teach and taking them with me. Didn't do that this time. So I walked up to this one and ended up playing this game with Keith Law, who's a big board gamer. He actually has a blog out there. Was an ESPN baseball writer for a long time. Didn't know that's who it was when we started playing, but we sit down 2-player and we just opened the rulebook up, and literally within about 15 minutes, we were rocking and rolling from having no prior knowledge to how to play this game. It was a really interesting mid-weight Civ game with some Euro elements to it. Kind of like Gentis, if anybody's familiar with that one. It's not like a full Civ like Through the Ages or Clash of Cultures or anything like that, but it does have some really, if you're into the Civ game genre and you want something that's got a taste of it that's in a much shorter time frame, this might be up your alley. Basically, you're going to have, I believe it was 7 action cards. You can see kind of at the bottom of that picture the ones that are face down that are red. And each of those action cards is going to do a specific action. Sort of like Race for the Galaxy, but not really, because you're not choosing it for the whole table. You're just choosing it for yourself. So you're going to roll 2 dice. They're going to have numbers on them, and those are going to kind of dictate how, each action has a number, and you might have to make up the difference with your people. And then you're going to take those actions, and you run through that. I believe it was 9 rounds, so 18 total actions. And we played this game in an hour. You each have a civilization. You can see it right there on that picture that he's got up. That one's Corinth. So one of the big things in the game that I noticed after first play is you really want to maximize that civ. But yeah, the other part I really liked about it is there's cards that you get to play as well that are going to dramatically change the power of each action you're going to do, or they're going to give you in-game scoring. So you got a little bit of tableau building, a little bit of track movement. If you look at the boards right in front of you, there's 3 tracks that you go up that'll increase the strength of some of the actions. And yeah, it was just a good, solid midweight Civ game.
I'm getting in the stream here. Dean's talking. Dean's not in the stream, so you got to give me a second, Deanie.
Yep, my bad. I forgot that you don't have all 3 of us up there.
Yep,
or all 4 of us up there.
There you go. Say it again,
Jonathan. Does that feel thematic, or is it kind of like Gentis or that?
It felt more thematic than Gentis.
Okay.
So Gentis is really not thematic at all. Gentis is just so cool with that time mechanic in there. But this one, I think I was Athens. No, I was Sparta and he was Athens. And Sparta was very much so geared towards war and attacking. You don't attack each other, but you're going after hordes, basically. And Sparta was very much so geared towards learning, which was helping him get those cards played. So each of the civs was very much so directed towards something that made sense with which one they were. And this is all, Greece, ancient Greece. I didn't really say that in the beginning.
Gotcha.
But yeah, it was good. I think you'd like
That's cool. It actually makes me want to play it more. I've kind of seen it, but it hasn't really appealed to me until you just talked about it. So that's cool.
All I knew going in was like Civ and Euro combo, and I think they pulled it off like really well. And the thing that I liked about it at the end, so we got to about like the 7th round or so, and I remember thinking, wow, I wish I had more actions to play this game. And that's always a good
I love that thing in the game. I do too.
Because it means, one, I didn't want the game to end, and 2, it means that I had not come close to maximizing in a first play, which is great. Yeah. That means that it'll have some replayability in there.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Hey, what would you? My wife brought me a cup of coffee. Isn't that nice of her? Shout out to my wife. What would you weight this at, Jonathan? Around
3. I would say it's a 3.
Okay. How much did you like it? Like, you don't have to give an official score. But I'm just saying, like, are you like solid or like I really liked it?
I'm somewhere between an 8 and 8.5. I mean, that's after one play.
That's a really good score, though. So you really okay.
I've talked about this with people before. Like 8 to 8.5 is like my placeholder for games I really enjoyed the first time, but I don't know quite what it is for me. If that makes sense?
Unless it absolutely goes crazy, you go crazy for it.
Yeah, and there have been games that I've played where I thought that and then ended up being a 9 or 9.5. But for the most part, that just means it was a good, solid game. It's one I'm interested in playing again. It's one that I have thought about since then, which is also a good
I love that. That's a good sign. All right, Deron.
Deron, we got Thunder Road up there for you.
All right, hold on. I'm gonna close out of us, Deron. You can just go to town.
So we didn't actually get a full gameplay of this one. This was just a demo. Saturday morning, Dean and I both wanted to head to the restoration booth. I know he was wanting to get a little Return to the Dark Tower in there, but didn't quite happen. But we did manage to find an empty table for Thunder Road Vendetta. And we walked up to it, and lo and behold, who is there to teach us the game but the Lord of Legacy himself, Rob Davio. It was great. We sat down with him, and he taught us this game. And again, this is 2 to 4 players, plays in about 45 to 75 minutes. It's based on the old 1986 Thunder Road game, but this one's been polished up, and it is really nice. It is a car racing, dice chucking, rage-inducing battle game. Kind of has that Mad Max theme to it. And you've got this board, it's basically a road, and you've got these 3 pieces that form the board. There's a 4th and 5th piece if you need it. But everything's played out on this road, and each player's got 3 cars, and a small, medium, and a large. And you've got some dice that you're rolling. And when you roll the dice, you're going to assign one of the die to your car, and it's going to move that many spaces. Whatever the value is in the die, it's going to move that many spaces. But while you're moving, you can also attack cars. You can slam into other cars. You can jump on top of them. You can also use your dice to call up some special abilities. You can heal the damage that your car takes. You can call in an attack copter to come in and shoot your opponents. And every time a car takes damage, you've got to roll some custom dice to decide like who takes the damage, how much damage they take, how far they may move, that kind of deal. And it is definitely the word vendetta is perfect for this one. Rob said afterwards that it is I think our game had more carnage than any other game that he had demoed thus far. But we had a blast. The base game is light enough that I think anybody can play it. It's very approachable. But he was talking about some of the other expansions they were going to add to it, because it was on Kickstarter a few months ago. But they canceled it after a few days. Wasn't quite doing as well as they had hoped. You saw some of the pictures of the early prototype at Gen Con. They weren't too thrilled with that. This prototype looked really nice, and so they're going to relaunch it back in January. They're at the end of January, and he was talking about some of the expansions that we're going to have that sounded like it would strategify this game up a lot, and so it looked like it'd be a lot of fun. So I will definitely be backing this one when it comes out. That good old Thunder Road Vendetta.
So what do you think? I thought that it looked really gorgeous on the table. I didn't get a chance to play it, but I thought it looked amazing. What do you think about it, Dean?
I thought it was good. Hey, throw that other picture up there that I've got, John. That's the picture that we took. I think that's a little bit better.
Okay. I'm going to close a few of us out of here and let you and Deron talk about that.
That's fine. So, yeah, I really enjoyed it too, Deron. I thought this one was a lot of fun. I was excited about the base game, but I think I'm a lot more excited about the potential for the expansion stuff that Rob was telling us about, like what you were just saying. I think that the potential for this game is pretty high, like with all the chaos. Now, it's for a very specific group of people that would play this one. I think, not everyone's going to enjoy this one, but for what it is, this was a blast. We had a lot of fun.
Well, I think it's for anyone that likes fun, Dean.
And I do. I do like fun.
That would exclude me and Jonathan.
Right.
We don't care about the fun.
No.
I don't like fun at all.
No.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that was
how
good.
how luck intensive was this game? Was it fairly reliant on the dice rolls?
For certain things, for sure it was, but you have to position yourself correctly, I guess is the best way to say that. So like if I'm a big vehicle going to attack yours, like Deron said, you roll a die to determine what happens. But if you're the big vehicle, you can roll again. And so you're just trying to position yourself in a way where you can help mitigate that, but you're just not going to be able to fully mitigate that.
Yeah. I wonder, though, some of those expansions, the way you're talking about it, if that might be something they end up throwing in there, some more mitigation, and I don't know.
I think that's probably the case. Yeah, I'm not quite sure, but there's a lot of expansion stuff that's going to be available.
Sweet.
Yeah, that was how he made it sound, so now I'm excited.
All right, my turn?
Your turn. I don't know if this is what you want to talk about, but yep.
Oh, hold up. I want to do It's a Wonderful Kingdom first.
Okay, well that's exactly what I got pulled up. So you're good.
All right, let me give it a little chat. I'm closing everybody out so that I can be as big on the screen as possible. Oh, Jonathan's still there. All right. There we go. All right, here we go. Okay. So if anyone has played It's a Wonderful World, and if anyone knows my thoughts on it, you know that I like that game quite a bit. So I was super excited to play It's a Wonderful Kingdom. I'm always interested in the two-player versions of games. I don't know why. I just like the idea of these two-player games. And so I'm dive right in and I'm 100% ready to go. Me and Jonathan are playing It's a Wonderful Kingdom. And to make a long story short, here's some of the differences that are pretty cool. What do you do to make a drafting game interesting? You have two players, you do I split, you choose. And if you see the board there in the middle of the table, what happens is you're going to have two cards you're going to have in your hand. You're going to put one card, or you're going to have 8 cards of what you start with in your hand. You're going to pick 2 of them, put one on one side, one on the other side, or 2 on one side, none on the other side. And the interesting thing is the player who's choosing is going to just pick one side of the board. So there could be leftover cards from before, but here's an intriguing twist to the I split, you choose. You both of you have a corrosion, corruption, catastrophe, some C word card. Jonathan would probably know it, but he's not on the stream right now. That you draw. So you always will have one of these. So you'll draw 7 cards in your hand, but then you'll have your 8th, and it's going to be one of those. Well, guess what you can do twice per round? You can take some of your cards or one of your cards and put it on one of the sides of the board, flip it over and put a token on it because the token represents that you can do it twice. So you can use it for that card that is a -4 points, or you can use it to maybe hide one of your best cards or hide a card that you think Jonathan might really like. And so there's this interesting mind game going on when your opponent throws a card out there and it's flipped over and you're like, well, I felt like the Princess Bride multiple times. Like, well, he wants me to think this, and then I'm going to think that, and then he thinks that so that he can get this card and that. I thought that was super cool. The only negative to that is it definitely added gameplay time to the game. I think this game is going to be a little bit longer than it's a 2-player than It's a Wonderful World, because it's not just draft a card, pass it, draft a card, pass it. It's, what is going on? The other players kind of got a gruel about where am I going to put which cards am I going to put on the table? What 2 cards am I going to put on the table? Where am I going to put them? On what side? What's already sitting there on the table? But besides that, another thing that I really liked, and then I'll be done. I'll let Jonathan talk about it too a little bit because I think he enjoyed it, was that you have these, instead of the guy and the gal tokens, the red and blue tokens that you get at It's a Wonderful World, you get battle tokens in this game. Now, the very base game with these battle tokens, I hope we were playing it right. It almost felt broken how little you could do with those battle tokens. But there were, I believe, 4 modules in this game. So instead of this just being straight package, here's a base game, like there are all these different modules, which I think is so cool. I'm always a big fan of all those modules. I'm going to pop everybody into this. But I'm always a big fan of having all those modules, but it makes those battle tokens so important. Like you can use those to go out on quests. You can use those to get advisors. You can use those to do all kinds of things. And I think that it's really cool. Maybe a little worried about some of the AP that can happen with the I split you choose. And I'm just saying a little worried. Besides that, instant buy for me. I think this could be better than It's a Wonderful World for me. If I'm just playing 2-player game, obviously you can't play it with more than that. So what do you think, Jonathan? Oh, hold up. I muted everybody. No one could talk.
I tried
Classic
clicking
John.
on mute. Yeah.
Sorry,
All
I had
about
you guys on mute because I could hear you. I was trying to share this and I could hear you in the background talking, and that was like my mind was going.
What did you ask again?
Well, first of all, let me say that Ryan said he chatted in, said Dean likes fun, watches Lions games.
Ryan,
Hey,
gets
that
me.
is
He
a
always has.
He
great
can like
comment.
fun and torture at the same time.
Yeah, he likes fun,
I have words for
but
that.
he watches Lions games. Ugh, I don't know about that. I asked you just generally, what did you think real quick about It's a Wonderful Kingdom? Because you're a big fan of It's a Wonderful World like I am.
Yeah, I've played It's a Wonderful World about 25 times already. A lot of that
You
was
introduced
because,
me to it.
Yeah, you and Dean. A lot of that is because my wife, COVID being with her, and she likes the lighter stuff. So, but yeah, honestly, I think that I would play this 2-player over It's a Wonderful World 2-player. Drafting
think I
games
would too.
are more interesting with more people a lot of times anyway. But the I cut you choose is such a unique thing. Like, I think I have one game that does that, like maybe one. So it's nice to have something
I think I have a couple, but
that's a little different. On top of that, there was 3 modules, by the way.
3, not 4. Okay.
Yeah. But like we only played with one of them, and it felt enough with just the one. Because the one we played with was basically just like player powers that were in the deck, and then when you pulled them, you didn't have to pay for them; they just went straight in front of you, and then you could spend those battle tokens to activate a power. So like one of the powers.
Go
ahead.
Mine was I trade in 5 of those discs for 3 Crystallium, which are those wild resources. Plus, some of the cards have to have those to be able to fulfill them. What was yours?
And there was like one that wasn't mine, but I remember seeing it in there that was like pay 3 or 4, and you could flip up one of those face down cards and look at it before you took the side, which was really cool. Just a little way to mitigate that not really luck, but the deduction element of the game.
But that's costly to do that too,
Yeah, the other 2 modules we didn't play with. One was a like creatures come up that you have to attack, and if you don't attack them, they end up being negative points.
Dean.
And then the third one was a quest. Now, we didn't actually read what the quest was, but there was a questing kind of module in there where you're like going along a path. So I don't know. It seemed really cool. That's one of my that's one of my complaints about It's a Wonderful World. If I had one, is that the expansions were just mainly more card expansions, whereas the modules in this feel different. Like they look like they would make the game feel different. Because sometimes with those simpler games, you really need something that's going to mix it up, and I think that game is going to do a better job of that. So
there you go. You interested?
That's interesting. Yeah, I didn't love It's a Wonderful World at 2 players, but
I think this solved all those issues that you had for sure.
It did,
and I don't disagree with that. That would be the case. Like, I'm sure that would be the case, but the problem is, I Split You Choose is one that I can like, but sometimes I don't. You know what I mean? Like, it's not one that I absolutely love in all games that I've played it in. So I'll try it for sure, but like right now I have low expectations for it, I think.
Yeah.
Which is good. It's good going to a game with low expectations.
That is good to go in, because it's way worse the other way around.
Yeah.
I actually I didn't have huge expectations for this because I just was trying to tamper them. Like, that was a really great game. How are they going to come up with a 2? Oftentimes when they make a 2-player version, I mean, I'm trying to think of what game is better at the 2-player version. It's 7 Wonders Duel could be. Like, I mean,
Foothills and Snowdonia.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, base game Foothills is probably better.
But it's almost a whole different game because it's a different mechanism. It's not worker placement. But, I mean, that'd be my answer to that.
Yeah. Okay.
Hey, speaking of low expectations,
are you
you
ready to go?
Siege of Roondar. I did not have low expectations for this game. I had pretty high expectations for this one. All right, so in Siege of Roondar, by the way, when we were at the con, I'm sure all three of the guys, you can't hear them talk right now, but I'm sure all three of them hated me talking about this because every minute I was looking over at the table to see if this was available. But Siege of Roondar, this is a cooperative deck building game where you are taking on these different characters, trying to keep the orcs away from your cave. Your dwarves trying to keep these orcs away. And if you look in the center there of the board, they're trying to get to that gold. And if all that gold goes away, you lose. If the orcs overrun you, meaning like there's too many dwarfs and you've drawn all their tokens, then you lose. You win by, I don't know if I can see a picture on there. You're trying to dig out the rubble. Yeah, you can kind of see it there at the top. You're trying to dig out this rubble so that you can get through and exit out of the cave that you're in, and that's it. But the cool thing about this is it's cooperative, and or maybe one of my favorite parts of this is you, just like any deck builder, you're taking cards into your hand or into your deck, and you're changing your deck. But the cool thing about this is you're collectively taking these resources from the board and putting them on those cards. And so you can all pay for a card, but eventually somebody on their turn is going to take that card, and you just kind of have to work out who's going to be best suited for that. Like, we might have a weapon that we're trying to get to really stack somebody up as a warrior. And so we'll produce this weapon and then say, hey, John, it's time for you to go get that weapon on your turn. And sometimes, though, those cards are going to disappear based on the siege token that's going to come out into the board, and that might completely take away that spot that you've been working for the whole time. This game, and John, you can go ahead and bring you guys back in. This game beat us down. I mean, we were struggling the entire time, which I love that. I really like that about cooperative games where you don't feel like everything is so easy. But playing this on normal, we could have lost really any time throughout. We ended up losing because we got overrun by orcs and we couldn't keep them away.
I do think though, whenever you play a cooperative game for the first time, oftentimes you don't quite get the strategy till you're several rounds in. So we
knew the strategy, we just didn't stick to it.
Yeah, I mean, there's different things that we should have done differently. That's really
for sure. Yeah,
but I just say that to say, I'm not going to at this point go, this game is so hard, because I don't know if it was. I mean, even us making a lot, some mistakes, we still had a chance at the end. It wasn't a great chance, but we had a chance. You're saying there's a chance? There was.
So you're saying there's a chance? Yeah, there absolutely was, and I think our biggest thing is, like you said, you play through this game to kind of get how everything's going to play out.
Yeah.
We didn't build our decks up enough at the very beginning, which really hurt us. We also didn't have anyone. We needed to have one person focusing on clearing that rubble out, which I think that would have helped us too, because you really do have to clear that out quickly if you can.
So
I really, really enjoyed this one, though. I thought it was a blast. Maybe my favorite one that I played all weekend.
Yeah, Dean and I played this together. So this was one that I didn't have super high expectations. And yes, Dean drove us insane talking about Siege of Roondar, like, Lord. But I was talking about Zapotec that much. But was there any game in that first look area? Was there any game that was taken up more
Boone Lake
than Roondar?
Boone Lake. That was Boone Lake too.
Oh, I didn't even know Boone Lake was there.
I never saw it empty the whole entire weekend.
Wow.
Yeah. So Ryan's asking about the different. Yes, there are different difficulty levels. We played on normal mode.
There's 4, I think. So that's the second easiest one that we played on.
Does it always have to do with the rubble, pretty much, Dean? Like how much rubble you're digging out, right? So
yeah, it does.
So I didn't have super high expectations for this, except for I do really like. Knizia is an amazing designer, right? Like, I'm always interested in what he's going to do. This one was one of the surprises of the con, I would say, for me personally. And I'm not a big co-op fan, but this was a really solid game. It was really interesting, like Dean was mentioning, to think through like this. There's 3 things that are happening. You're needing to remove rubble to win the game. You're needing to fend off the orcs and the trolls and things coming, and you're needing to build your deck in order to do all those things efficiently. So like trying to figure out how to do that the best was a really interesting puzzle. And I also like how when you gather a resource, you don't keep it, you put it on one of the cards, like for the weapon. So there may be a weapon or something that says it needs 2 stone and 2 wood. You put it there to where then like Dean could actually go pick that up. But here's the thing. if a siege ramp or whatever comes, it can knock out the card completely. And that whole slot, there's 5 slots for cards, knock that slot out entirely. So we had twice where we had once a completely full card, I think, ready for someone just to pick up. But we were like, we'll just wait and let this person pick it up. And pow, it's gone. Another time
like
we're
that.
almost done. Yeah, another time we
I
were
like that
almost
pusher-like
done.
aspect.
No, it's great. And like that's why it could be just like Dean might be the warrior, and I might be like, I just got to take this, Dean. We can't risk 2 more turns. We got this siege ramp ready to go, and if we don't draw right, it's gonna take us down. So,
and the other cool thing
it's
is
good.
With the cards that you're playing, you play it for one action for the most part. So, like if I play a card, it's either to move or to do something, and usually that doing something has to do with being in the right position to take a resource or to battle or to do something like that. So your positioning is so important in this game. It's unlike other deck builders where you're just like play a card and it gives you the resource. You actually have to go to that location. I think that's really cool.
I think that's what sets. I think the deck building part kind of sets it apart from like the pandemics and some other stuff that horrified. And so you know what I mean. Things that I've played that it's kind of the same old with a lot of the co-op games that come out. That deck building part is really, really interesting because it's hard. It's hard to figure out when to remove rubble, when to fight these off, when to just let them steal some of the gold so that I can get some cards that's going to help me better and later on. Cool game.
Yep.
Cool game. I'm interested. I might pick this one up, and I haven't picked up a co-op game, and I don't know when.
Yeah, it was a blast. Really unique.
Like
you may have answered this already. I may have been asleep a little bit while you were talking, but
wow,
I'm used to that.
That's a low blow.
What's the replayability on this one like? Was it scenario based? Was it just like the same old rubble every time? And
that would be my biggest concern, Jonathan, because you are doing the same thing over and over again. The replayability comes a lot in those cards that come out, like the cards that like the weapon cards and stuff like that, but also in how the orcs come out and the different so there's different goblins that come out that you have to do certain things to, like a goblin will come out and block the entrance so you can't clear any rubble. And so he's like, hey, I need you to pay me resources so that I can get out of here. And you have to do that. So there's the replay.
Or you just got to whack him on the head.
That's right. Or just, punch him in the face or whatever. That would be my biggest concern going into this one. It can be fixed with expansions, but if you're just looking at the base game, it could get old based on that. But who knows?
Yeah.
That was after one play, but I think that would be the issue that I would be concerned about.
I'm thinking through Knizia and how often he does expansions.
Yeah.
I don't know. All of the Knizia games that I like, he hasn't expanded at all.
No.
Well, that being said, like Quest for El Dorado is
true.
Is a game like this that could use expansions like that.
I forget that's Knizia. He does so many weird games.
Yeah, absolutely.
This did feel thematic, for sure.
Yes,
it felt like you were hunkered down in a castle, and oh no, it's an orc coming from the west. Shoot him, Dean! Shoot him! Like, clear this rubble.
John, I didn't think you cared anything about themes.
Yeah, I don't. No, I've said this before. The mechanics are 90% probably, or something like that, of what I care about. The theme, I don't care super, but it can bump it up. Like, for example, I wasn't going to talk about this, but DeVere has a winemaking game, Lavinia, and we played that one night in our hotel room floor. And honestly, if it was another theme, I would have said, it's okay. But because it's winemaking and I like to drink wine, I think that's going to be such a fun game to bring to a vineyard or something, or, where I'm hanging out and just bust it out. I already have a friend that doesn't play that many games. When I told him about this, said, we're going to Arrington Vineyards and we're playing that game. I can't wait. And he already asked me about it like twice this week. So
that's cool.
That's cool. Good to see you.
The theme kind of matters.
I think you're like me. The theme is rarely a negative, but it can be a positive.
That's the way. That's how you say it right there.
Yeah.
There it is, Johnny. Alrighty. So we're back to
Jonathan.
Jonathan's
up.
All right. I'm going to close this out and let you go, Jonathan.
And I'm waiting on pictures, apparently. All right. So I'm talking about Micro Macro Crime City. I believe I should have done a little more prep for this. I believe this was a Spiel winner or runner-up last year. Maybe. We actually played the full house one, so this is an exact